Fermé, chef. Fermé.
Allez, sois sympa. T'es vraiment mignonne. Hein. Super, j'ai une cochonne.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, toi?
The film begins at the CIA headquarters in Langley, where Agent Vivi DeLay meets with the CIA director and another individual to discuss their target, Wolfgang Braun, also known as Acre the Wolf. Braun is attempting to sell arms to terrorists in collaboration with his associate, an albino. The men assign Vivi the mission to apprehend both individuals. She inquires about the agent currently on the ground, identified as Ethan Renner. We are introduced to Ethan in a hotel in Paris, where he and another agent, Yasmin, are preparing to intercept the albino, who is scheduled to finalize a deal with Serbian buyers. Ethan has already eliminated the buyers and engages in a swift exchange with the albino, trading briefcases containing secret codes. As he prepares to hand over the briefcases to other agents in a van, he receives a phone call reminding him of his daughter Zoe's birthday. Ethan rushes to a payphone, using his watch as collateral with a nearby vendor to obtain change. He attempts to call Zoe but reaches her voicemail. Meanwhile, Yasmin's cover is compromised when the albino recognizes her. He forcibly drags her into an elevator, where she meets her demise. His associates then open fire on the agents in the van, resulting in a gunfight that escalates from the hotel lobby to the exterior. Ethan pursues the albino, eliminating his henchmen before continuing the chase. As Ethan closes in on the albino, he begins to feel weak and disoriented. He ultimately collapses but manages to shoot the albino in the foot before succumbing to unconsciousness. Ethan awakens in a hospital, where a doctor informs him that he has cancer that has metastasized to his lungs, giving him an estimated 3 to 5 months to live. Upon returning to his apartment, he discovers that a family has taken residence there. The head of the family, Jules, warmly greets Ethan and explains that they are refugees seeking shelter. When Ethan expresses his frustration about their presence, he is informed that evicting them could lead to legal repercussions. In a moment of conflict, Ethan draws his weapon in front of Jules but ultimately decides against it, allowing them to remain until his eldest daughter gives birth. Ethan contacts his ex-wife, Tina, who is currently meeting with friends. Initially hesitant to meet, she agrees upon hearing that it is urgent. They meet to finalize his will, during which Ethan reveals his terminal illness and his desire to keep this information from their daughter, Zoe. Ethan expresses a wish to see Zoe, and Tina stipulates that he must officially retire from his work before they can meet. He agrees. The two then go to Zoe's school. The reunion with Zoe is awkward, as she appears disinterested in engaging with him. A charming older boy approaches Zoe, whom she introduces as Hugh. He is courteous to Ethan during the introduction but seems uncertain about the situation. After Hugh departs, Ethan presents Zoe with a purple bicycle, mistakenly believing it to still be her favorite color. Zoe decides to take the metro with her friends, leaving Ethan to ride the bike alone. While at a stand, he encounters Vivi. Vivi mentions Zoe's name and shows him the watch he left at the hotel. She persuades him to accompany her, suggesting that he work for her. Ethan initially declines until she reveals that she possesses an experimental drug that could potentially save his life. Reconsidering, Ethan learns that the assignment involves locating and eliminating the albino known as the Wolf. Vivi takes him to a hotel where they aim to find an informant who can provide information about the albino's accountant. Although Vivi indicates there is only one target in the room, Ethan discovers 5 men when he enters. In the ensuing confrontation, both Ethan and Vivi eliminate all 5 individuals after receiving no useful information. In the elevator, Ethan stipulates that he will only continue with the assignment if he receives a payment of $50,000 and a $1 million life insurance policy. Vivi agrees and administers a dose of the drug. Meanwhile, the albino meets with an associate and hands over a photograph of Ethan for safekeeping. Later, Ethan visits Zoe and Tina's apartment and hears Zoe scream. Believing she is in danger, he forcefully breaks down the door, only to find that she is upset about a bad haircut. Tina expresses her frustration with Ethan for being 3 hours late after promising to prepare dinner. She plans to travel to London for business the following day and considers hiring a sitter for Zoe, but Ethan insists on caring for her himself. Later on, Ethan begins to feel dizzy and faints. He calls Vivi to inform her that he is experiencing hallucinations. She advises him to drink vodka to alleviate his symptoms. The next day, Tina departs, and Zoe enters wearing a red wig. She notices Vivi calling Ethan's phone, prompting him to inform her that it is a call from his boss. She sets "I Don't Care" by Icona Pop as Ethan's ringtone for her calls. Ethan attempts once more to persuade Zoe to ride her bike to school, but she chooses to walk and inadvertently drops her wig. He then meets with Vivi again. Vivi presents him with the promised check and advises him to maintain a low heart rate. She instructs Ethan to locate a car salesman named Mithat Yilmaz. At the dealership, Ethan insults Mithat's staff and incapacitates them before waiting in Mithat's office for his return. Ethan threatens Mithat's family and takes him back to the apartment until he receives a call from Zoe's school, requesting that he speak with the principal. He brings Mithat along, placing him in the trunk of his car. During their meeting with the principal, Ethan learns that Zoe had an altercation with another classmate. He inquires whether it was an open palm or a clenched fist. As they leave, Zoe explains that she hit the girl because she was teasing a peer from Pakistan. Ethan reassures her that he is not angry and acknowledges that it is an effective way to deal with a bully. However, Mithat begins to make noise from the trunk, prompting Ethan to punch him and tell him to be quiet. Zoe, disturbed by Ethan's behavior and his persistent coughing, decides to leave. Later, she calls him back to apologize and invites him to meet her at her favorite spot, a small theme park known for its flying chairs ride. Although Ethan initially intends to continue searching for the accountant, he ultimately decides to meet Zoe. They enjoy the ride and share hot chocolate afterward. Zoe mentions that she needs to study with her lab partner. Following this, Ethan visits a store where he is suddenly attacked by a man wielding a shotgun. In the aftermath, Ethan notices that the assailant was holding a photograph of him. Returning home, Ethan discovers a message on Zoe's computer from a friend indicating they will meet at a tattoo gallery. Alarmed, he rushes to the location and finds a car containing Zoe's bag. Breaking into the vehicle, he discovers a flyer for a place called Spider. Ethan then goes to Mithat's house and inquires with the man's twin daughters about Spider. They inform him that it is a safari-themed venue. He subsequently heads to Spider, a nightclub, where he spots Zoe socializing with friends. Feeling dizzy again, he takes a swig of vodka for relief. Following Zoe toward the bathroom, he observes 3 men harassing her.
C'est fermé, chef. Fermé. Allez, sois sympa. T'es vraiment mignonne. Super, j'ai une cochonne. Qu'est-ce que tu fais, toi?
The following morning, Zoe awakens with no recollection of the previous night. Still dressed in her outfit from the night before, she prepares to go to school until Ethan advises her against it. He encourages her to ride her bike to school, however, she expresses her frustration, reminding him that he never taught her how to ride. Ethan dedicates the morning to teaching her, earning applause from bystanders. Later, Zoe tearfully questions him about his prolonged absence, expressing concern that he may have another family with a daughter. he reassures her that this is not the case. As they continue to spend time together, Zoe confides that she struck a classmate for flirting with Hugh. They encounter Hugh as he arrives to take Zoe to school. Meanwhile, Ethan tracks down the accountant, Guido, as he is escorted through the streets. Ethan launches a tear gas grenade at the vehicle and apprehends Guido before detonating the van. He brings Guido back to his apartment to negotiate the exchange of a briefcase containing codes that could trigger explosives held by the wolf and the albino. Zoe calls to inform Ethan that she plans to prepare dinner for Hugh and wishes to make a vegetarian dish. Ethan allows Guido to speak with Zoe, who shares a spaghetti sauce recipe from his mother. That evening, upon returning home, Ethan discovers that Jules' daughter is in labor. She gives birth to a healthy baby girl and chooses to name her after Ethan in gratitude for providing them shelter. Jules expresses their intention to leave as promised, but Ethan insists they can stay as long as they need. Jules explains that the family prefers a smaller home to remain close together. Later, Ethan visits Zoe's home and learns that Hugh has asked her to prom, but she feels she cannot dance. Ethan decides to assist her just as Tina arrives home and witnesses them dancing, which brings tears to her eyes. They share dinner as a family, and afterward, Tina advises Ethan that he should inform Zoe about his condition sooner rather than later. They ultimately spend the night together. The following morning, Vivi contacts Ethan to inform him that the albino is staying at the Grand Hotel. Ethan proceeds there and spots the wolf. The antagonists enter a car driven by Minette, prompting Ethan to pursue them. He collides with their vehicle until he forces it over a footbridge. The wolf and the albino manage to escape, and Ethan spares Minette in order to return to his family. Ethan pursues the antagonists into the subway, where he begins to experience a nosebleed and dizziness. Just before he can shoot the wolf, the albino drags a semi-conscious Ethan toward the train tracks, waiting for the train's arrival despite the wolf urging him to eliminate Ethan. Regaining enough strength, Ethan manages to push the albino in front of the oncoming train just as it approaches. He subsequently loses consciousness, while the wolf escapes. Upon waking, he finds Vivi being brought into her residence. Vivi reminds him of the wolf's escape but informs him that his treatment results have been positive regarding the drug. Ethan, along with Zoe and Tina, goes to meet Hugh and his family. During this gathering, Hugh's father introduces Ethan to his business associate, who is revealed to be the wolf. Recognizing each other, they share an uneasy handshake. Hugh's parents then lead everyone into a club, where Tina eventually realizes that Ethan is on an assignment. She suspects he has been dishonest with her, however, he reassures her that he has not been untruthful. Chaos ensues when the wolf's men open fire on Ethan, prompting him to chase after them. He successfully eliminates the assailants before cornering the wolf in an elevator. In a decisive moment, he shoots the elevator's cables, causing it to plummet. Meanwhile, Hugh and Zoe find a secluded room where they dance and share their first kiss. The wolf crawls out of the elevator, and Ethan confronts him but begins to feel weak again, rendering him unable to shoot. He drops his weapon, which the wolf attempts to seize until Vivi intervenes, pushing the gun back to Ethan for him to finish the task. Contemplating Tina and Zoe, Ethan refuses to pull the trigger and drops the gun instead. Vivi seizes it and shoots the wolf herself. Some time later, Ethan is residing with Zoe in a house near the beach. He sets up a Christmas tree, reflecting on how he once thought he would not live to see Christmas. He speaks with Tina about their relationship, acknowledging that there have been challenging days but they are striving to maintain it. Tina arrives in person, and Ethan admits that he has not always been present for her and Zoe as he should have been. Zoe approaches to invite her mother inside so Ethan can prepare hot chocolate. As Ethan steps into another room, Tina and Zoe sit together, and Zoe asks her mother if Ethan plans to stay. Meanwhile, Ethan discovers a box containing a large syringe and a note from Vivi wishing him a Merry Christmas. She has provided him with the drug to enable him to continue spending time with his family. In the distance, Vivi observes the family from outside their home. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.